Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by SoundWeb Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson Missing, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Coming to Missing 2 by Mia Molson double the suspense, double the fun. Be sure to check it out on Amazon. And brought to you by the Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of King David, including 30 exquisite paintings and King David's Psalms. The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner. Make sure you check it out. Amazon.com, keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. And the Sensei Swing, Eric Diamond with All of Me, featuring new music by Eric Diamond. I've got New Woman and more. EricDiamondMusic.com. Make sure you check it out today. We're here with a terrific lady who is an award-winning, best-selling author, founder of Same Page Publishing, sought-after speaker and expert, TV producer, and also a media coach, ghostwriter, and a successful serial entrepreneur. And she left her career as a TV executive director decades ago to become a full-time author, trainer, and entrepreneur. She's got a new book out revealing the 7 blueprints to build your business using the book. We'll talk more about that. Also, a company that specializes in publishing award-winning books, focused on fiction, nonfiction, with making the world a better place. We'll find out more about that. Live, ladies and gentlemen, the Plus Studios in beautiful downtown Los Angeles. The amazing award-winning, best-selling author of the book, Turned Words into Wealth by Same Page Publishing, the multi-talented Aurora Winter. Aurora, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Great to be on the show with you, Mike, and I look forward to helping the listeners turn their words into wealth.
You got that right, and make it cha-ching as well, too. So make sure the dollars and common sense come out of their pockets, too. So got that and people buy. So you're award-winning, best-selling author, founder of Same Page Publishing. You're a sought-after speaker and expert, TV producer, media coach, and ghostwriter, successful serial entrepreneur. You left a career as a TV executive decades ago to become a full-time author, trainer, and entrepreneur. Your book reveals the 7 blueprints to build your business using your book. And also, your company specializes in publishing award-winning books focused on fiction, nonfiction, which basically makes the world a shining light on topics that matter. But the one book that matters is Turning Words into Wealth. And before getting all that, Roar, tell us how I first got started.
All right. So Turn Words into Wealth, that's the book that we're talking about. I've written 10 books, not counting the ones I've helped publish for others. And inside it's got blueprints for turning your business, brand, and book into multiple streams of income and impact. And why I wrote Turn Words into Wealth is I'm a coach, I'm a trainer, and it just was making me so sad to see people put so much effort into their book and then drop the ball at the finish line. So I wanted people to know that there are things that best-selling authors do that anyone can do. And one of the things that best-selling authors and successful entrepreneurs do is they have a plan to monetize their book. And you need to make that plan somewhat transparent in your book, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, and let people know how else you can be of service. So I've discovered that I don't need to withhold any information from my books. I can give, not withholding anything, but a certain number of people will want more. But unless you tell people in your book, hey, I'm available as a speaker, I host workshops, I'm available as a consultant, I'm a ghostwriter, or I'm a publisher, or I'm a podcaster, as you are, Mike, unless you let people know what you're up to, the book will be a nice experience, but that'll be the end of your relationship. You want your book to be an appetizer and the beginning of your relationship with your reader.
That is really interesting. When you talk about the appetizer, you're making me hungry already, Aurora. So, and the best way to get that hunger going, but also this came to mind, what was that one exact precise moment that simply influenced you into what you do in the rest of your career?
Well, there have been so many moments. I've had a very blessed life. I've always loved writing since I was 9 years old when I read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S.
My favorite, C.S. Lewis. I read that in school. That is an amazing book. Love it.
I know. When I read that book at age 9, I decided I was going to be a writer because I realized writers are like wizards. We can, just with words on a page, we can transport somebody to another place in time, even a place that doesn't exist. And I've actually written a young adult fantasy series called Magic, Mystery, and the Multiverse.
I was going to get to that part. Let's hear more about the book. This is interesting.
Yeah, so Magic, Mystery, and the Multiverse really is my homage to C.S. Lewis and The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. People can actually get the ebook for free right now on Amazon, Magic, Mystery, and the Multiverse. It's the first book in a trilogy. The second book is out. It also won an award, and the third book was coming soon. I was just editing it today. It's finished. I'm just polishing it, so it'll be out probably by the time this podcast comes out, or soon thereafter. So I think I write a range of books from nonfiction to self-help to fantasy, and I think they all matter. And here's something I want to hear your thoughts on, Mike.
Sure.
I think that fantasy really matters because if we can, well, my thought anyway, with my young adult fantasy, Magic, Mystery, and Multiverse, is if I can inspire another young reader, like 9-year-old Aurora, to have a love of reading, that is so valuable. People kind of don't understand how valuable it is to love reading. If you love reading, you'll soon get better and better at reading. And as you get older and older, you'll start to go, well, I've got this problem. And then you'll reach out for a nonfiction book to help you through it. And you can be mentored by the best minds throughout history, from Marcus Aurelius to Rumi to C.S. Lewis, if you love reading. So one of the things I love to do is encourage young readers. And one of the ways to do that is to, hey, write a fun, adventurous, entertaining book. So that's what Magic, Mystery, and the Multiverse is all about. And actually, it leads me to one of the points in the Turn Words into Wealth book, which is how do you monetize your book? One of the ways of monetizing a book is to turn it into a TV series or feature film or movie.
Interesting.
I have a background in film and television. So each year I take my clients to a media festival. We're going next month. And BBC has expressed interest in turning Magic, Mystery, and Multiverse into a TV series.
Nice. Very nice. Give Doctor Who a run for the money.
I love Doctor Who. Exactly right. Exactly right. We were on the same page there. But it's just one of the ways to monetize your book. And in the book, Turn Words into Wealth, which people can actually get for free if they'd like, as a gift from me. They can go to turnwordsintowealth.com, turnwordsintowealth.com, and get the gift ebook from me absolutely for free.
And
I
certainly,
think the more people who love reading, the more people who are making a difference, the better.
and I think that's a great point as well, too. And besides some of the writers you mentioned, who are some of other favorite writers and authors growing up, especially other favorite books growing up?
Oh, so many books, so hard to choose. I really love Terry Pratchett. Have you read any of his? I like that sort of British
Yep.
satire.
I'm ready to go. I'm always ready. So go ahead, fire
Okay,
away.
so Terry Pratchett would be highly recommended. I like fantasy, so I also like Sarah J. Maas. She's got the series The Court of Thorns and Roses. That's a really great series. There's just so many books to choose from. I actually, in the nonfiction realm, I just finished reading Mel Robbins' book, The Let Them Theory, which I almost didn't read. I almost didn't read it because I thought I got it already from the title, Stoic Philosophy, but it was such a good book. And that makes me very excited. I have a new YouTube channel, which you might want to check out. It's called Strategic Basics. And on the YouTube channel, Strategic Basic, it's free, obviously. I just give people breaking news. We turn breaking news stories into business breakthroughs. And because I'm publishing, often they relate to publishing or books. So one of the breakthrough messages from Mel Robbins' book is she turned a 45-second video. She posts lots of stuff on social media, but one 45-second video that wasn't part of a campaign. It was just like a quick video she shot about Let Them. It blew up. She got millions of people responding.
Oh my gosh.
So the business takeaway is when you do a podcast or a little clip on social media and people start reacting, lean into that. So she leaned into that. And then she did a podcast about the Let Them theory. People loved that. And then eventually she wrote the book, The Let Them Theory. So your book may come at the end of the process, but the takeaway is for all of us, pay attention to when people react. Mel Robbins turned a reaction on a 45-second video into, I think she sold at least 3 million books and, blockbuster bestseller.
Off that video or off that channel?
indirectly from the video. It wasn't from the video selling the book because the video was 2 years before the book. But because she noticed that people resonated with the idea, let them, then she's like, oh, gosh, maybe I should give them more of that. And there was another example. I don't know. Have you read any of Jordan Peterson's books, like 12 Rules for Life or
Jordan Peterson. I think that name rings a bell. I do believe I had him on my show and I got to read a little bit of the book. Jordan Peterson, I think, does ring a bell. He is
Jordan?
amazing.
He is absolutely amazing. But there was a similar story with him. So before he wrote the book, 12 Rules for Life, he posted on Quora. I think there were 40. He was answering a question somebody else had posted. What are the things everybody should know? And he posted 40 quick things that people should know. Well, I think he maybe spent 3 hours writing it, something like that. Put a little effort into it. And it got an outsized response. It was in the top 99% of responses. So he's like, whoa, that's a lot of response. He had posted other things on Quora and they were like, whatever, crickets. But this one got 99 percentile response. So then he's like, wow, people really like this. And so then he eventually expanded it into the book 12 Rules for Life, and the rest is history.
And do you think the keywords also play a part of it as well, too?
In those two cases, I don't think it was about keywords. I think if you double or 10x, that it might be about keywords. But in this case, with both Mel Robbins and Jordan Peterson, the response was like 1,000 times more than normal. So that's not just keywords. Each of them hit a chord that resonated with people. And so that's one thing I love to help people do as they're turning their words into wealth. Like I work with my clients one-on-one, I interview them in sort of podcast like episodes to discover what is it they really want to say. And I can feel it in my body when they say something amazing. I'm like, wow, that was great. Tell me more about that thing. So yeah, pay attention to when people lean in, even if you're just chatting with somebody over lunch or at the grocery store in the lineup. Pay attention to when people go, what? Tell me more.
And I think we need to do that more often as well, too. And we'll see other amazing tips from Aurora Winter from turn words into wealth. We'll find out in 1 minute. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by SonicWeb Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. SonicWeb Studios is the answer. SonicWeb Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. It's 1-800-303-3960 or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, time to give an official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia. Available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those who live it first go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has got great reviews and Evil Evan endorsed by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassie, Forrest Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for It Goes Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Coming soon, Missing 2 by Mia Molson-Zia, double the suspense, double the fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David, including 30 exquisite paintings and King David Psalms. The Sweet Psalmist gives a new perspective of David through the Psalms he wrote, and it's the time of the shepherd where it started, and complicated yet turgent relationship with King Saul. It's still of love, betrayal, repentance, hope, and more. Check out the Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner on Amazon. Keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. Again, Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner. Keywords Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. Also brought to you by Sensei Swing. Eric Dunn was released to release All of Me, featuring the title track I've Got a Heartache, Bring Me Sunshine, Strike a Match, and more. Eric's a multi-award winning artist, inducted in numerous Hall of Fames, album Entertainer of the Year, and release a new CD soon. Check out the amazing Eric Diamond, ericdiamond.com. Follow on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and more. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, 40 podcast platforms, heard in 100 countries. Take us with you on any mobile device, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeart, Apple Music, and more. And for t-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies, and more, Amazon.com, and keywords The Mike Wagner Show. Check out your favorite merchandise. And for more great gift ideas, Amazon.com/me and Molson great books, merchandise, and more. And support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWinterShow.com. Here's amazing award-winning, best-selling author, founder of Same Page Publishing, Aurora Winter, here on the Mike Wagner Show. Before we get back to turning words into wealth, your company specializes in publishing award-winning books, focusing on fiction and nonfiction, making the world a better place by shining light on a number of topics. Tell us more about the Same Page and what got you inspired to write, or inspired to start the company. I'm sorry.
I think I like the saying, grab missing before it goes missing. That was kind of fun. And it's interesting to see reading your sponsors and giving them plug live during the show.
Right. And also check out the swag too. We want everybody to do that. So if you know about
Yeah, you got the pillows, you got the t-shirts, you got the sweatshirts, the Mike Wagner Show.
You got it. Yeah. And of course I got I got Yetis coming up, pop sockets, and I think I got baseball caps, and I guess I can't think of anything else. I'm sure something will pop up. I'm sure we want everybody, especially buy it for the summer. Tank tops are also the hot item too.
Very entrepreneurial of you.
There you
So
go. Thank you. I mean, you got to do something. It's like if my dog can sleep on it, anybody can sleep on it. So
well, merchandising is another thing for people to consider. Like billions of dollars been made merchandising. Look at J.K. Rowling, you know, the Harry Potter author. A couple of people, people don't usually know that one of the reasons that she's a billionaire is she actually retained the digital rights to Harry Potter. So she kept the ebook and the audiobook rights, and the rest was history. So the takeaway message for this, for the creators, whether they're authors or singers or podcast hosts, is keep control of your intellectual property or your IP. Maintain your copyright. Because if you're onto something, you never know how far you can go with that, as witnessed by the pillows and other kind of merch. But certainly, look at Harry Potter, the rides in Universal, I don't know, the wands, the costumes. So many things can evolve from a book or intellectual property, whether it's turning into a movie, a TV show, and other things. So honor your creativity by recognizing that it is an asset. And in order to assert ownership, you need it to be in a fixed form. So if it's just an idea that you have rumbling around in your head, you don't own that. Or no, you don't have a copyright on it anyway. But if it's recorded, for example, this interview being recorded, that's a fixed form. It's an audio form. Now it's easier to assert copyright if you file the copyright, as I always recommend people do with a book, file the copyright, and then you can assert the day that you came up with that particular idea. So that's another thing I really love to recommend, is that people honor that their ideas and their books or stories or articles or blogs are intellectual property, and to honor that and copyright them as appropriate. The other thing I think that would be really fun for us to chat about is the difference between the message that is sent and the message that is received.
correct. Yeah. Communication 101. That was the first thing we all learned. Introduction to mass communication, sender, receiver. That is the most important.
Tell me what you learned about that, Mike, and your
Well,
long background in broadcasting.
I remember being a sports writer back in high school, where it's just like, you're supposed to, write a message, whatever it was. You're supposed to write it in a proper form, express it in proper form, and make sure it gets out to receiver. And if there's like no obstructions or anything like that, the message will be clear. But then if you have these obstructions like this, or like say something is blocking, or you have like a person that's not receptive, this, or whatever, or it gets choked, then the message doesn't get out there. Or like say there's no paper, there's no radio, no TV, or you have like electrical interference, acts of God, everything else, then that message gets blocked. Or somebody's having a bad day with their eardrums, or they maybe had too much to drink last night, and the message will get distorted. You may not understand the message. So that's why it's important to have a clear path from sender to receiver. And that's the one thing I know. If you have like too many barriers, then the message does not get out there. But if you break down the barriers, then the message will be clear. That's the one thing I remember.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. So I love to teach people the neuroscience of communication. So even well-educated people, or I would say especially well-educated people, tend to do this wrong. The more education they have, the worse they get at communicating because
Oh, isn't that the truth? They think they're better. Why do you call them eggheads, you think? Why is that?
well, in university, you are sort of taught to believe that if you deliver the verbal equivalent of an Excel spreadsheet, the other person will open the spreadsheet and understand it and follow it, and all will be good. But that's exactly the wrong thing to do. So just as if you were emailing a stranger an actual Excel spreadsheet or any kind of attachment, how would you do it? And those are the 3 steps we need to have in the communication. So first off, you need to have the verbal equivalent of a subject line. Like when you introduced me, I said I was looking forward to helping your audience turn their words into wealth. So that's a little tiny tidbit saying, oh, this is what she's going to talk about. This is what is about. I'm not interested in that. Go on to something else. Or, oh, I am interested in that. I'm going to hang around for a little bit more. That is communicating to the croc brain, which you do in a subject line in an email or the headline in an advertisement or whatever you're going to name the podcast or the title of your book. So the title of this book, Turn Words into Wealth, that is communicating to the croc brain, telling us what category we are in. So what is very interesting is most people know that about emails, but they forget to do that in communication. So every block of meaningful communication should actually be broken into these 3 steps with the sort of the headline or the subject line or what category are we in. And that relates to the ancient reptilian brain, the croc brain, which is filtering thousands of messages from which ones am I going to pay attention to. There's so much information, especially nowadays with social media, but even before that, there's too much information to pay attention to it all. So you have to pass the first filter, like this is interesting enough for me to pay. This is novel. This is new, or this is sexy, or this is something I can eat, or this is a little bit dangerous. I need to pay attention. Not too dangerous, so you trigger freeze, but a little
Right. Yeah.
bit.
Or call 911 or report authorities and all that. Or you don't want to do anything extreme like that. You're right.
Exactly. So that's the first step. You need to talk to the croc brain and get its attention. And then the second step, which most people don't understand, is that we survived as human beings for millennia because not because we're the fastest, not because we've got sharp teeth, not because we've got great hearing or even great eyesight, but because of each other. We survived in a tribe. We survived in community. So human beings are hardwired to go, well, who else is around here? Who else thinks this is a good idea? Who else has endorsed this? Or who else is doing this? Or who else is using this? We're look around. We kind of do like a check. And if nobody else is there, like we're not interested. So quick example, Turn Words into Wealth. It's got a couple of awards. There you go, awards. So that is midbrain. It's saying who's involved. Either the messenger has to come from somebody you know, or the message needs to be approved by somebody that you know. Even the fact that I'm on your podcast, it is a social cue. You think I'm worth talking to. I think you're worth talking to. So that meets the social midbrain. Very important second step, takes longer to explain it than to actually do it. So for example, Magic Mystery in the Multiverse, it won Reader's Choice Award, Best Book for Teens. That's all. That's not even like, that's just one short sentence. That's midbrain. Check. Okay, then you can talk to the neocortex. Now, the neocortex, or the big part of our brain, that is the part that does decide. But here's something else most people don't know. Especially that more educated, the neocortex is very expensive for us to listen, and people can only really listen fully, deeply listen for about 20 minutes. That's why TED Talks are 20 minutes or less. But the neocortex, or the brain, loves stories and kind of hates data.
Right. Yeah. It's just like, I have all this data and numbers, and then next thing you know, you forget about, what did 120,000 mean to 960 and all that stuff.
Exactly. So as best you can, couch the most important facts that you'd like to share or be memorable in a story so you make meaning, because numbers by themselves can quickly become meaningless, but human beings are meaning seeking machines. So add stories emphasize the meaning of what you're sharing, and people will remember it and maybe even repeat it. And then you can go viral like Mel Robbins and Jordan Peterson. Yeah.
Hmm. Definitely did too. And of course, the free speech, that is the most important thing. Expressing freely, I think that is the best. That is the most critical of all. Best way from sender to receiver is free speech.
Absolutely. We couldn't agree more. Did you hear about Ryan Holiday, the author of The Obstacle is the Way and many other Stoic messages? He's a great New York Times bestselling author, and he talks about wisdom. But recently he went to the Naval Academy, I think it was last month, and of course he had to give him the slides for his talk. And less than an hour before his talk, he'd spoken at the Naval Academy 3 years running, so it wasn't a new relationship, but they canceled his talk an hour before he was to go on stage because they asked him, would you please remove the mention of the fact that we took 381 books out of the Naval Academy library? And
Why?
Ryan Holiday is like, I wouldn't feel an integrity to do that because banning books is not free speech.
No, it's not. In fact, the best books are the ones that are banned. What, Catcher in a Rye? And I think there's The Outsiders, and I think there's just too long to list. Every time you hear about banned books, it's like that's like restricting First Amendment. It's like we're supposed to express freely. You're right, but I could see why he left, canceled, whatever it is. 381 banned. It's like why?
Yeah, and it was amazing to read the actual list of books that they removed from the Naval Academy Library. Books by Maya Angelou, really like famous. Wasn't she a Pulitzer Prize winning author and poet? Very respected. And also, I'm a Canadian and American dual citizen. They removed The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. It's not like because they're going to remove that book from the Naval Academy, they can't watch the 6 seasons of Handmaid's Tale on Hulu. It's a seminal, thought-provoking book with a feminist angle. Anyway, so I found Ryan Holiday's stance admirable and totally in alignment with what he's teaching about Stoic principles, which is to control what you can control and keep your center of integrity. And then he gave the whole speech on YouTube. People can check it out on YouTube, or they can check out Strategic Basics on YouTube and find my quick little summary of what happened, which was pretty mind-blowing.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And of course, having a book like fiction, nonfiction, and everything like that. And of course, it also sparks some real world issues, or just talks about the real world issues in a different manner. That's been going on for quite some time. Like with Huckleberry Finn, Mark Twain, there's underlying social issues, Catcher in the Rye. And I think the one that really stood out for me was The Jungle, which was about, in somewhat, it's like a nonfiction, colorful way, but it was also talking about what really happened during the 1900s when it came to immigration, the strike, and everything like that. And of course, my favorite was Animal Farm, and it was all clever cartoons and all that, but it had a very serious underlying message on that one.
Well, exactly. And the people who are banning books don't seem to understand that actually, I think it's the responsibility of authors to write books that create controversy because they want to shine a light on the issue. It doesn't mean the author agrees with the characters in the plot. It means they've chosen the plot and they've chosen diametrically opposed characters to shine a light on this issue, to trigger or invite debate and discussion and thought. In order to create or trigger debate and thought, you have to have diametrically opposed characters, and you've got to have a plot line that's kind of explosive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you talk about nothing and there's nobody upset, like nobody's going to read that book, and they're certainly not going to debate it later. But the author's job, I think, is to shine a light on issues that are worth talking about. Like in my book, Magic, Mystery, and the Multiverse, this fantasy book, I'm actually shining a light on a few things that matter, like censorship. The evil queen is actually a censor, and people get their tongues
Oh,
cut.
interesting. I think I
Ah!
know the evil queens out there in social media. I'm not going to name the program or one of them, but I do know of a few so-called evil queens on some of the networks that control it. So
Yeah.
again, to it though.
Anyway, so it's, I mean, it's a fun, entertaining book, but I've slipped in something for kids or the grown-ups that read it to think about. What do they think about free speech? I'm not telling them what to think. I'm challenging them to think it through for themselves.
And I think that's so important as well too. And some other 7 blueprint tips with Aurora Winter in the book Turn Words into Wealth. We'll find out in 1 minute. You listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sockweb Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson Missing, The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of King David, 30 exquisite paintings and King David Psalms. Check out The Sweet Psalmist on Amazon, keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner, and the Sensei Swaying Eric Down with all of me, ericdownmusic.com, following Spotify, YouTube, and more. We'll be back with the multi-talent Aurora Winter of Turn Words into Wealth after this time out. We're back with author Aurora Winter of Turn Words into Wealth by St. Page Publishing and the Mike Wagner Show. We've been on the same page on a lot of things, Aurora. This has been really great. But of course, we did cover maybe 1 or 2 briefly of the 7 blueprints to build your business using the book. And what are some of the other ones that you can highlight as well, too, as the other blueprints?
Great. Well, a book is a great way to establish authority. So what is the root of the word authority? It's author.
Good one.
Oh, one of the things you can do, especially with a nonfiction book, is to attract premium clients. And because they're premium clients, you will get paid premium prices because you are the go-to or the #1 authority on that topic. So many people have done that. And in fact, in my own small way, I do that. People can get Turn Words into Wealth for free at turnwordsintowealth.com. But most of my clients come to me after they've read the book. So they already know who I am. They know what I stand for. They know that I love to help people create books the easy way, the spoken author way. They know that I interview people. They know that I only take on people whose books I think will make a difference in the world. And that like I have a center of integrity around that. And so the people who are attracted to that, by the time they sign up for a business breakthrough call with me, they're already 80% sold. They just want to know how much is it and how long will it take. But so many people have done that with their nonfiction books, from Never Split the Difference to The Talent Code to Mel Robbins, the Let Them Theory. If you have a nonfiction book, it will draw people to you, and then you can invite them into your world to come to your mastermind, come to your workshops, come to your training, that sort of a thing. So if you have specific expertise and you'd like to become the go-to expert in that area, a book is a great way to go. So that's one way, and that can easily generate 7 figures. Another thing that people don't always think through is, what is the training or certification that could go with this book? So for example, Marie Kondo, who wrote the wonderful books about the joy of tidying up, the little tiny Japanese woman, she actually eventually created a training program because people were like, oh, we love to do this. And even though she's already explained how to fold clothes and how to declutter your house, she's already explained all of that. But some coaches wanted to coach people through the Marie Kondo method. So they wanted to be trained in the Marie Kondo method and get certified in the Marie Kondo method. So before you know it, she had another whole business. So you want to think multiple streams of income. And she offered, the price may have changed now. I think it was something like $2,000 to get the certification,
Wow.
and then $500 a year to maintain your certification and keep your skills up. But that's a 7-figure business very easily. And Marie Kondo is also an example of turning her book into a TV documentary in her case. So even though English is not her first language, Netflix did a series showing her going into homes of hoarders and people who had like a lot of clutter and helping them clean it up. And she had to have a translator there because her English is very modest, but it was a charming show. So she's an interesting example of turning a nonfiction book into both a coach training certification and also getting it on Netflix. I've also used books to create certification programs. I used to train coaches, and so that's another way to go. And maybe if we have time to talk, one more different method is you can use a book to attract investors and launch a startup.
Oh, that is a big one. I did not think about that. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, thank you. Most people don't think of all of these, so it's good to know. For example, Jason Calacanis, he's got a podcast called Angel and a book called Angel. And what he does is he provides a lot of great free content through his podcast and almost free content through his book. But then he becomes the go-to person, and people bring their startups to him to fund. And he gets a taste of the ones he participates in. He gets them earlier than others. So that's a great model for him. Another example of somebody who does that would be acquisition.com. Alex Hormozy wrote the book 100 Million Leads and 100 Million Offers. And now he's had various businesses, but now his business is basically bring me your business when you're ready to turn it into like big deal. And he will help you with that process. So I don't know, he's got a 9-figure business or something like that. And he used his book as a very powerful way of bringing deal flow to him. So those are just touching onto some of the 7 different ways that are in Turn Words into Wealth. And again, people can get the book on Amazon or at turnwordsintowealth.com.
We'll certainly do that. And how about your website and your company website? How do they get a hold of you?
Thank you. My company is Same Page Publishing. So go to samepagepublishing.com and you can see the success stories of the authors that I've helped to get clear on their book and to publish best-selling award-winning books. And my name is Aurora Winter. And so not surprisingly, my main website is AuroraWinter.com. And if people would like a weekly flow of free content, we're posting new videos twice a week on YouTube at Strategic Basics. So that's a fun way to take a deeper dive into publishing success stories. For example, tomorrow we have a success story going out about Colleen Hoover. You may know her. She was an indie author, started with basically less than nothing, writing on her kitchen table. She hasn't made any secret about the fact that she was broke. Anyway, she's self-published. She didn't have any platform, no marketing, no agent, no publisher. And her first book, Slammed, became a New York Times bestseller. Now, fast forward a decade later, she's got multiple New York Times bestsellers. I think she has 4 on the list when I last checked. And her book, Verity, is now it's being filmed right now, being filmed as the feature film Verity. So that's one of the example of the kind of story that we share on Strategic Basics.
That is so amazing. And we're looking forward to all that. We're here with the amazing Aurora Winter of Turn Words into Wealth by St. Page Publishing here in the Mike Wagner Show. Just a few more things, Aurora. What else can we expect in 2025 and beyond?
That's a good question. Thanks for asking, Mike. I'm super stoked that the 3rd book of the fantasy series is coming out, probably June or beginning of July. So it's called Multiverse Mayhem. So then people can read the whole trilogy. So check that out. I've been having fun doing Kickstarters. I'll probably do a Kickstarter for that book, and then people can get all kinds of extra gear and special stuff. So that's really cool. And life is good. I'm off seeing if I can help my clients turn their books into movies at the Banff Film Festival next month.
And we're certainly looking forward to that as well, too. We want everybody to get involved. And who do you consider biggest influence in the career?
That's a good question. I have been influenced by so many thought leaders. I still think in the end, C.S. Lewis impacted me the most. He changed my life at 9 when I decided to be a writer after reading The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And then we didn't touch on this, but much later, my husband died suddenly.
Oh,
And
I'm so
C.S.
sorry.
Lewis, thank you. And C.S. Lewis helped me again. His Diary of Healing after his wife died, which is the book's called I'm forgetting what the book is called. A Grief Observed. Thank you. A Grief Observed. And it was made into the movie called Shadowlands with Anthony Hopkins and
Oh,
Jeff.
Shadowlands. I remember that. Yes.
So I was like, what are the chances that the same author would impact me so profoundly twice in my life? And because I read the book A Grief Observed I later published my own Diary of Healing. It was the first book that I published. It's called From Heartbreak to Happiness, and it was endorsed by Dr. Wayne Dyer. So I have to give a shout out to C.S. Lewis.
That is so amazing. One of our favorites. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Best advice I can give at this point is to really check into what's alive in you. What are you passionate about? What are you angry about? What do you love? What do you hate? What do you wish everybody knew? What are the things that make you go, really? I can't believe and start off by just journaling about those things. Or if you don't like writing, start off by recording videos about those things just for yourself. This is key. Just do them for yourself so that you become more deeply connected to what you care about and why. Because if we immediately start writing for the public or recording videos for the public, we tend to shut down. We tend to play small. So I encourage people to take 90 days at least and get more deeply connected to what's alive in you and what your purpose is and what you would share with people if you could. And once you have stoked those fires for 90 days, I have a 90-day challenge actually. It's in Turn Words into Wealth. It's like every day, write. Could be just 5 minutes. Every day, read. Again, it could just be for 5 minutes. And then once a week, review what you have read and review what you have written. And if you do that every day for 90 days, at the end of 90 days, your life, I promise, will have changed. Or you can send me an email and let me know that you were the exception. Why it changes is because you notice the things that you're complaining about. And then I would challenge you, stop complaining. Do something about those things that are bothering you. Or if there are things that you can't do anything about, accept, release, forgive. So for example, I couldn't do anything. My husband's dead. No matter how much I complain about that, he's not going to revive. So that's an example of something to accept. But if I'm complaining about, I don't know, the tap dripping in the kitchen, hire a plumber, handle it. Right. And then if you reflect each week on what you've written and what you've read, you'll notice the things that leap out at you at the books that you're reading. Read and, read good books.
Mm-hmm.
And you will notice how your life is blessed, and that will probably inspire you to want to be a bigger blessing to others.
Mm-hmm. And
What do
I
you think?
think
What do
that's
you
great.
do?
And I think that's great as well, too, which is really amazing. You're just a wonderful inspiration. I'm going to say that. You're here at the multi-talented Aurora winner of Turn Words into Wealth by Same Page Publishing here on the Mike Wagner Show. Aurora, very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Learned a lot. Looking forward to having you soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Love to have you back. And what's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your book?
Yeah, they can go to Amazon and get Turn Words into Wealth, or they can grab the free copy right now of Magic, Mystery, and the Multiverse, the first book in that young adult fantasy. Or if they want the free version of Turn Words into Wealth, they can go to turnwordsintowealth.com.
We will certainly check that out. Once again, Aurora, very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Looking forward to having you soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Love having you back. We wish you all best. And Aurora, you definitely have a great future ahead of you.
Thanks, Mike.